if you're not from Utah or Salt Lake City, and Wasatch is just a name that's, dare I say, playful, you could rearrange it.
Here's Brody Brazil.
Yeah, so that was my initial reaction the other day, right after I heard that the Utah Hockey Club was considering Wasatch as the future permanent name of their franchise. And apparently I wasn't the only one who had weird feelings about Wasatch, because here we are, just a couple days later, they've taken away the option of Wasatch and they have substituted in Outlaws. Outlaws is now one of the final three. Outlaws will be considered for voting by fans and part of this final decision-making process. No, that is not an official logo that comes to us from Jazz Unitracker on social media, but there's a ton of renderings and concepts out there. I don't officially know what the Utah Hockey Club's concept looks like. They've been keeping all of that, not secretive, they're showing it to people, but they're not allowing anybody with phones near the logos they're showing them. More on that in just a second. So the old final three looked like this, keeping the name Utah Hockey Club. I mean, they're already using it, and nobody's, I don't think, not going to games because of the name. It's not hurting them right now. It was announced as temporary. Could it turn into permanent? Who knows? I actually don't think it would be the worst thing. Everything considered, where we're at now, the fact that Yeti or Yetis is off the table because the cooler company won't allow it, Utah Hockey Club is not that bad. You add a mascot to that, you might be fine. Utah Mammoth, we've already discussed this about an animal and a creature that is extinct. I do believe there are other professional teams out there, mostly at the minor league level, right, across different sports that also have that name of Mammoth. So it's not the most unique or original. It's still fine. I'm not mad at it one bit. But Wasatch, just, again, too playful. Like, there's too many different ways you could interpret that, take that. If you're not from Utah, there's not that direct connection to it. And so the hockey club said this on social media. Hey, Utah hockey fans, we listened to your feedback and dug into all the Qualtrics data from last night's survey. For the team name, it's clear that Outlaws should be in the mix instead of Wasatch. So we're swapping it out. Really? I mean, you went from like 12 to 6 to now 3, and you're changing one of the finalists all of a sudden. And Outlaws, to be fair, it was part of the, I think, final 6, and Wasatch came out of nowhere. It was like, hey, we're throwing this in. Now we're taking it out and we're bringing back one of the originals. Anyway, surveys will continue at the arena Friday. That's tonight as I'm recording this. Sunday and Tuesday for you to vote for the options for Utah Mammoth, Utah Hockey Club, and Utah Outlaws. Excited to see the votes roll in. So here's the new final 3. And again, I think those two have been considered widely, and they're not terrible, either one of them. But you add in Utah Outlaws. Aren't there a bunch of minor league teams out there called the Outlaws? It doesn't feel original or unique. Certainly you're not the first to do it, but aren't there other teams? And you talk about using somebody else's thing, like you can't use Yeti. Well, there's other pro sports teams out there called the Outlaws. And it just doesn't have like a real fun, creative branding to it. It feels kind of generic, to be honest with you. I'm just really not hot on Utah Outlaws. So these next now 3 games, this is what the hockey team said about the 4 games. Fans who attend any of the next now 3 home games, including tonight, will enjoy this exciting opportunity being able to participate in the next phase of a survey to vote on the team's permanent name. Now, they don't actually say here that the fan vote results in the final decision. You're part of the process. You're part of the survey to vote on the team's permanent name. Because this next round also features not only names but logos and branding treatments, fans attending the next, now 3, Utah Hockey Club games at Delta Center starting tonight will be able to participate. And from what I've understood, they've curtained off the area. They make you put your phone down, or they take your phone. They just do not have phones anywhere near these concepts. They don't want these to leak. They don't want these to get out there, so they want to show it to people. They want to get their input, engage their interest, but they definitely don't want this to spread on the internet. Because once it gets on the internet, you cannot get it back. So they're showing it to you. They're saying, here, have a vote, have your say, and these are for fans that are coming to the next, now 3 games starting tonight. And the Wasatch, just again, one more thought on this, how it entered and then how it went away so quickly. Utah Hockey Club and Utah Mammoth were names included in the latest round of the top 6 names. Utah Wasatch is a new option, they said at the time, created to honor the idea of a mythical snow creature with a Utah-centric approach inspired by the Wasatch Mountain Range. Yeah, the Wasatch Front. And again, that's cool, but it's a little bit too specific. And the name Wasatch, too playful. Like it could be turned around in too many ways if you catch my drift. So it really never did make sense. And the fact that it got subbed in and now is getting replaced out, it just feels, I don't know, kind of weird that all this happened. Now I'm going to show you some more concepts and renderings here. This comes from Jazz Uni Tracker, and this is, I think, from this past summer or maybe last spring. So these are not new by any means. These are also not official, but it kind of goes to show you what some people are thinking for a brand and a look like Outlaws. And I think this is fine. Again, I don't know that it is so specific and creative and it's going to spark merchandise and it's going to have identity. I mean, you're literally choosing the identity of the franchise here. They've already got their players, they've already got their arena, they've already got their fans, but what do they all identify with? And I don't know, that just feels like not that creative against Yeti. Like Yeti really would have worked here. Here's another take at the Utah Outlaws. This one comes from my buddy Colby, who I featured his work and his designs in a full video back in the springtime. Colby made like 8 or 9 different concept ideas when there were a bunch of names, and the work he did was great. I think the Utah Trout, still my favorite. I'll try and link that video up above here. You should definitely check that one out. I like the color scheme here. Now, that's the other part about it, right? Like Utah Hockey Club has already taken the baby blue, the dark blue, and I know there's official names, but they've kind of selected their color palette. Will they stick to that? Would they totally pivot and go to a new selection of colors? I don't know. I like this. That's a lot of seafoam. I'm not going to say teal. There's a lot of seafoam on that jersey, but it's a good idea. Colby also had these designs for the Mammoth, and I saw Paul Bissonnette, Biz Nasty, share these on social media the other day. They caught Biz's eye. I mean, they caught my eye too a long time ago. Again, these are not new. Colby did these, I want to say last May, but these look pretty sweet. I got to say, the name Mammoth, it's an extinct animal. It's not overly used. Like, I feel like Outlaws are overly used. Collegiately, professionally, in minor league teams. Mammoths are not, and that's the thing, is it Utah Mammoth or Utah Mammoths, plural, singular or plural? We'll have to figure that out. I mean, I kind of like the idea. This is unique. This is more creative. Honestly, if you're going to pick something besides Utah Hockey Club, with the choices left, for me, that's probably the one. But that brings me here to my takeaways. Yeah, Wasatch, that just never felt like a good idea. The way it was introduced, and obviously now the way it was taken away just as quick. At least we know that the Utah Hockey Club is paying attention. I doubt thinking that they're watching my videos, but if I had that instant like, ooh, reaction, I'm sure other people did too. Outlaw, again, as a name, it just feels minor league. It feels not original. It feels overused. And what happens when, when you have like first responders night and law enforcement are there? Oh, but we're also called the Outlaws. Little conflict of interest. Utah Yeti, it just felt perfect. And a lot of people got their hearts set on Yeti. And even when the team's GM Bill Armstrong came out at the draft and was joking and said, you know, we're the Utah Yeti. That's what the kids like. And they do. The kids like it. It just feels like nothing else is going to fit like Yeti did or still does. And it's the name that got away. And we all got used to it, and I probably shouldn't have been rambling it off or rattling it off, but I did, and it just felt right. Nothing else might fit and feel perfect unless they go back to the well on names. But I think the one thing here is you can't let this get messy, right? You're down to a final 3. You've said fans are part of the voting. So what are you going to do with that input as related to the final decision? Are fans going to make the final decision here? Is the Smith Entertainment Group going to make the final decision here? How exactly is that going to go? I understand you don't want to tell everybody. You want to leave some room in there in case they choose something totally different than you're going to do. But you can't let this process get messy. No more introducing other names. No more taking away names. I mean, honestly, you should probably stick to those 3 unless you have one that you know is going to work. It's going to be so popular as the runaway favorite. Let's just make this process less confusing, less controversy here. I'm putting Outlaws up there because that's the news, that's the addition here, but I still think at this point, honestly, if it's me, stick with Utah Hockey Club. Add your mascot as a Yeti. The Utah Yeti is the mascot. Then it's not a brand, but you're called the Utah Hockey Club. Can you do that? I think you might be able to do that. You're the Utah Hockey Club, your mascot's a Yeti. That's my number one option. Number two, Utah Mammoth. Right? And old Woolies up in the stands, throwing out T-shirts and stuff. That's probably option number two. Option number three are the Outlaws. I don't even know why they wasted their time putting Wasatch in there, taking it out. Now they've added Outlaws, but I would think this is definitely, for me, a number three choice right now. Hey, that's the end of this video. Thumbs up down below. Greatly helps me, this video, and this channel. And one more thing real quick, make sure down below you're already subscribed to this channel. That way I can definitely see you back here next time.